Spoiler warning! Spoiler warning! Spoiler warning!
Welcome back everyone, and it's time to go balls deep. And today we're going to be covering chapter 132 of Attack on Titan. It has been a while since we covered this masterpiece. However, we have been up to date with the manga and we are back at it, especially since the final season will be airing in October. Yes, you heard that right. One of the greatest anime in existence is almost over. Anyways, we asked the Anime Balls Deep community if you want this type of content of us covering Attack on Titan, with 67% said yes. We appreciate the support, and if this video gets over 10,000 likes, that would tell us that you guys like our format and want us to continue making content on this series. We will be posting more Attack on Titan content once a week from now on. That's why it's important for you guys to hit that notification button. Please give us any feedbacks or topics you want us to cover before the start of season 4. With that, let's cue the intro. Okay, so in this chapter there are two major deaths and it seems that things are really coming to an end. We start with our Paradis and Marley alliance group, including pretty much all of the remaining Titan shifters, to stop Eren's plans to level the whole world with the rumbling. The group has managed to secure a ship pulling along the flying boat, but still needs work to be done on it by the Azuma Beatos before it can be used. Guys, remember the plan is for Mikasa and Armin and the guys to get high enough to start a dialogue with Eren to stop him from killing everyone, cause let's be honest here, there's no chance for them to actually stop our boy. At this point he is Kami, pure god of destruction up in this shit, and sadly due to being delayed by Eren's simps, the Jaegerist or Jaegerha, however you like to call it, led by Floch, our team were too late to save everyone on Mali, specifically Liberio. That part of the region is gone, where for some of the members of this new alliance, like Annie for instance, was a huge loss, as the main reason for her even fighting in this battle was to save her adopted father, who now is more than likely dead. But coming back to this chapter, we join the group in their travels towards Odiha residence, a Malian city located on the continental mainland of the southern border. The first plan is to get there and use the aircraft hangar used by the Azuma Beatos and have the engineers prepare the flying boat for liftoff. As they are arriving at the harbor, they notice all the citizens and the ships are gone. We then move to a conversation between Hange and Kiyomi, where they once more reiterate their plans, along with Kiyomi reassuring that the Azuma Beatos' home, Kizuru's fate, is left in the hands of the Alliance. After the guys finally arrive at Odiha's harbor, the men band together to pull the flying boat into the aircraft hangar. We come across an important scene where Connie notices that the bombs are in the way. Reiner suggests to take them off the plane, but he is stopped by big brain Armin, who realizes that there might be some use to these bombs. Reiner, surprised, then asks Armin if he is suggesting to use the bombs on Eren, in which Armin hesitates to respond that he isn't sure, but knowing Armin, he has to have more than one plan up his sleeve. But for real, if Eren doesn't follow through after the planned dialogue, more than likely that would be their next move. This might cause a dispute or infighting within this alliance, especially with Mikasa, as she is pure emotions and heads over heels for Eren, and wouldn't want things to go in a direction that would possibly cost Eren's life or put him at a disadvantage. As the night comes, Falco wakes up in a panic attack after coming to terms with what is actually happening in the world. He ain't exactly having the best time of his life. His captain's dead, Liberio is crushed along with all of his family, and let's not forget that his own brother died holding him within his arms just before he turned into a Titan. And Pieck for some reason feels as though confirming that most of the mainland has already been destroyed will calm Falco down. However, that just breaks him further down into questioning on what are they supposed to do, and that they are the only ones left. Pieck just fumbles around, clueless on what to respond with, telling him that she herself has no idea. Honestly, this interaction shows the reality of their situation. No matter how you look at things, there isn't much any of them can really do. The reality is, Eren is the dictator of this story and how everything will end. We then move to Annie, who is sitting outside the aircraft hangar, looking completely depressed, which is expected given the situation along with her daddy being dead and all. Mikasa approaches her, asking Annie to check her equipment and try the anti-personal gear with Reiner to get a better hang of it. Depressed, Annie looks up to Mikasa and asks her, Why? Why bother? Huh?
I am going to commit suicide.
Why? Why bother? Huh? Mikasa responds back by telling her that they should try everything they can, but speaking to Annie, she should know better. Annie responds back telling her that she already told her that she plans to stay out of this all as there's nothing for her to fight for anymore. Annie doesn't even want to bother getting into the flying boat. In her perspective, there is no point in saving humanity, as that very humanity oppressed her for just being an Eldian, something that she never had a choice in, only that she was born into. In reality, even if the rumbling stops and even if Marley is gone, nothing really changes, as the rest of humanity will never forgive the Eldians. And after that, what will protect the Eldians from the rest of the world? The plan to stop Eren will ultimately bring the downfall to the rest of the Eldians. At this point, right or wrong is truly subjective on who you are and how it will affect you and your people. All that said, Annie still feels sorry for those who are risking their lives and everything they have to save their homelands, despite having little to no hope. However, she doesn't want to be like that. With everything happening and knowing that she is a Titan having less time to live, she wants to live her last moments in peace. And honestly, who can blame her? As Annie is giving her speech, the panel shifts to Armin for a brief moment. With that, Mikasa notices Annie noticing Armin, and she puts two and two together. I guess she knows what it's like to admire someone from afar, and then she asks Annie, since when? Of course, Annie becomes embarrassed and plays dumb, but Mikasa changes the subject to the fact that Annie doesn't even have to decide what she wants to do at this moment. But Mikasa and Armin are going to go forward with the plan and take the plane to go to Eren. Annie looks down lifelessly and asks Mikasa if she is really willing to sacrifice Eren for the rest of humanity. But Mikasa assures Annie she won't be killing Eren. Instead, she's going to try and get the old Eren back, because that's what she truly wants. After a bit more dialogue between them two, we jump to the hallway on the boat as we see Levi finally back and actually able to move after being out of commission all the way back in chapter 114. We get a little bit of a banter between Armin and Levi, where Armin trying to convince Levi to rest a little bit more, but Levi is determined to find Eren and stop him, especially since Yerena is up and conscious again. He wants to take this opportunity to interrogate her. On the way, Pieck shows up and says she'll join them. This leads to Yerena's flashback of her and Eren talking about their plan to collapse the major nations in the world. What's important is that Yerena tells Eren about the aerospace lab in the southern Malian mountains and how it might be a problem. The reason the aerospace lab is a problem is because the Titans just can't attack things in the air, so planes and flying boats are their natural counter. This again is an indication to why our alliance team needs the flying boat in the first place to fly over the Titans and get to Eren. We can also see from this flashback that Eren seems to be toying with the idea of partial rumbling, because remember that the initial plan was to release the Titans from just the first wall, not the second. But Eren is seen asking, would it even keep the island safe for decades? This is a huge indication that Eren was entertaining other ideas to save the Eldians before entirely committing to full rumbling, which also could be a sign that Eren has other intentions that no one else is aware of. A sacrifice or a plan that will help everyone in the end, because the fact that pushing the problem back a few decades is a huge risk. Eren can only live for a few more years, and there's no guarantee that the next holder of the Founding Titan can accomplish what Eren would want them to do. The outside world may even develop nuclear tech, which would render the rumbling potentially useless. It's clear that Eren considered all other methods but couldn't find a suitable one. Anyways, coming back to the main focus, because of the threat of the flying boats, Yerena tells everyone that this aerospace lab is likely Eren's second target. As if there's even a small chance of stopping the Founding Titan with the flying boats, Eren's going to make sure that will not happen. Hence, he would head to the naval port Khalifa to destroy the flying boats. After Yerena shares the information, she asks for closure, wanting everyone to accept and understand why Zeke wasn't wrong. The only way to correct the 2000 years Eldian problem was the euthanization plan. Yerena didn't want to destroy the world, but just stop Marley from being the world's superpower, with the Titan's ability eventually ceasing to exist along with the suffering of the Eldian people. Really, what it came down to is that either the Eldians needed to be destroyed for the world to be saved, or the world needed to be destroyed to save the Eldians. At this point, Hange actually agreed with Yerena. In her perspective, it's better to save the world than just save the Eldians, by pointing out that Eren's solution didn't really have any hope or really any future. As the day passes, whilst the boys are loading the plane with fuel, Pieck is seen talking with Kiyomi about Falco and Gabby. She requests Kiyomi to keep the kids from coming with them on the plane to see Eren. It almost seems that Pieck knows that they aren't going to survive this mission, even saying that the two of them needs to live so their comrades didn't die in vain, which then Kiyomi agrees to watch over the kids and to keep them in the boat. We then jump to the next morning, where someone yells at Hange that they only have an hour before they take off. We see all of them get ready, even Levi, who is visibly visibly shaking, barely able to hold his swords with only 2 fingers, which kind of concerns the others, but Levi clarifies that 2 fingers are enough. Yeah boy, we're talking about Levi. On the side, we see the Marley squad, Annie, Reiner and Peak talking. Annie has decided that she isn't going to fight, which both Reiner and Peak understand. At this moment, Reiner has some heavy PTSD again and apologizes to Annie for forcing the mission to capture the founding Titan to continue after they lost Marcel, which started this whole series. And if he could just go back in time, he would stop the mission right there. Annie responds to Reiner telling him that she had to stop herself so many times in trying to kill him, in which Reiner responds saying that she showed a lot of self-control. And he's like, yeah, I guess so. And they hug and make up. Okay, no, not that type of makeup, but you know, they hug and they show the love and compassion they have for each other. Reiner tells Annie as she's staying behind to take care of Gabby and Falco for him, in which she agrees to, just before saying her final goodbyes to the gang, especially her homeboy Armin. Damn, that goodbye look had so many meanings and feelings behind it. Mikasa noticing asks Armin if he's really okay with this, in which he responds with what, given the impression that Armin cannot do anything but say Annie is fine the way she is, even if she's not coming with them. To be honest, this already is a huge blow. They don't got Falco, meaning no Jaw Titans, and they don't got Annie, meaning no female Titans. The only Titan shifters left in this group are the Colossal Titan, which is Armin, and then our OG Titan shifter, Reiner, who has the Armored Titan. We move to Hange's conversation with Peak, where she tells her that even if they manage to stop the rumbling, there still might not be a chance to save the Eldians. But Peak already knows this and is prepared for what's coming. She's going to carry on the will of General Magath and work with them to stop the rumbling, also giving us the impression that maybe even after the rumbling is stopped, that these guys can come together to stop the hate towards the Eldians. With them working together to stop their common enemy at this point in time, who is Eren, will bring everyone at peace. Technically, if you think about it, Eren is Lelouch and this is his Zero Requiem. I'll talk about that more in a bit. Hange's conversation ends in her classic fashion of instantly asking if she can ride Peak when she is in Titan form, which just ends up creeping Peak out. Levi jumps in to make a comment about Hange's unrequited love for Titans, in which Hange takes it to a serious tone, asking him that, do you really think that they're watching us? Will we be able to stand tall amongst all our dead comrades? Both of these interactions with Hange is pretty deep considering what's going to happen next. As Onyan Kapun and the old man starts to refill the plane with fuel, he notices someone crawling from the corner of his eyes. It was none other than Floch, who managed to latch onto the ship before the group escaped a few chapters ago. Using his sidearm from his anti-personal ODM, Floch went gun blazing on the plane and peppered it with holes, causing everyone to hide for cover. The only person to react was none other than Mikasa, who used the grapple from her ODM and hooked Floch in the neck. Seriously, what a way to go. However, all that damage has been done. The fuel tank filled with holes with no time to take off. All the others frantically started to seal up the hole, with the old man stating it will take at least an hour to repair. But it was already too late, as the sound of the rumbling had reached everyone's ears, leaving all of them in shock. Reiner rushed out, confirming that these gigantic titans has already reached them. As Hange and Jean looked over to Floch's bleeding body, even at his final moments, Floch described Eren the exact way he described Eren. Our devil, our only hope, which means what he viewed in Eren is what he saw in Eren. Since Eren's death, Floch's thoughts has never changed. This island will be massacred. Hange in response says, it's as you say, we can't give up. If we fail today, we will try again tomorrow. In some odd way, seemingly agreeing with Floch's statement that maybe the end is inevitable. As the Wall Titan closes in, Falco and Gabby, who are left behind in the ship, rushed out the door to escape, but with no avail as the door is locked up. They shout, open the door, the Titans are coming. We see it's none other than Annie holding back her tears, preventing the kids from escaping. We then pan to a scene of the Wall Titans, right at the cusp of the dock hangars, as Mikasa, Reiner and Armin watch in hopelessness. We are out of options, Armin, Mikasa says, but in response Armin suggests using his own Titan power to hold the Wall Titans back to buy some time. However, Reiner objects, stating that Armin is the key to stopping Eren and that he himself shall be the sacrificial pawn. However, Hange comes in to tell them, both of them, to shut up and stop their nonsense, as both of them can't afford to lose their Titan powers anymore. Gobsmacked, Armin and Reiner stares at Hange as she takes the mantle for being the leader that brought the group to this place. Before setting off on her final bout with the Titans, Hange promotes Armin as the next first commander of the Survey Corps, with the only requirement being that the commander never gives up. This baffled Armin looks back with heavy eyes as Hange states that there are none better suited to lead than him. and he alone will shoulder the responsibility of leading everyone. Hange proceeds to say her goodbyes and lets Armin know that Levi is his subordinate now, so work him to the bones. Levi also has a touching moment with her before letting her go to become a martyr by saying, "Dedicate your heart," a message which the service corps would hold tight as their creed. Levi is then seen kind of depressed as he has technically lost all of his seniors and all the people he has ever cared for in his life, one after the other. Hange then holds this sentiment close to her heart as she rejoices at Levi's affection and leaves to take on the Titans. We then see Hange rush in to kill the wall Titans that were on the collision course for the airplane hangar, and just when the flying boat took off, the colossal Titan destroyed the hangar. So if it wasn't for Hange right there, right then, eliminating that colossal Titan on the front line, the plane would have been destroyed. As she is making her sacrifice, the plane is being repaired swiftly and the fuel is added to let them make their escape. In effect, Hange dies doing what she loves, and she is in complete awe of the rumbling and how the Titan operates. Everyone witnessed the martyrdom, screaming out her name, but then she proceeds to have a vision, or perhaps have arrived in the afterlife. Now this vision is actually very important, so let me quickly explain what just happened. The writing is absolutely fantastic because Floch and Hange both died the same way in this chapter, fighting for their ideology till the very end. Isayama is portraying the morally grey colour of the world with every single character involved. All of the characters can be seen as either good or evil depending on your moral standings and the view of the world on what's right and wrong. Hange and Floch both displayed equal dedication but from opposite value systems. The current geopolitics and the worldview will not allow for diplomatic middle ground or conversation to take place like Armin wishes for. Remember how Eren said to Armin that all he ever says anymore after becoming a Titan holder is wanting to talk things out and not take actions? This could be a foreshadowing. The climate of the Attack on Titan world resulted where both polar dichotomies of sacrifice are portrayed through their death on how they want to save the world. Two different ideologies which sacrifices the world to save an island, where sacrificing an island or people to save the world. Neither options can be seen as 100% morally correct, as everything is grey. That's why Isayama uses certain characters like Annie to represent another route of staying out of both options. This is something that someone may choose to do in real life. Even more poetic about Hange's death against the colossal Titan is how it symbolically displays the approval of Armin. Remember how Armin was supposed to go out in this manner? Armin was burnt to a crisp just like Hange, but survived due to being chosen over Eren. Armin has now become the leader of the Survey Corps and has everyone's approval. Now one strong notion within the community is that Eren has a grand scheme that will make his sacrifice and actions not go to waste. The evidence for this is quite large since Eren has the knowledge of the future. However, Isayama hasn't showcased a chapter yet giving context on when, where and how future Eren passed down his instructions and memories to give the correct path to the characters that will meet his plan. For example, we know bits and bobs that Eren was the one that told Eren Kruger to keep going with his plan to eventually give the Attack Titan to his father, because he mentioned Mikasa and Armin even though they were not even living in his era or existed. Eren is the one that told his father to keep going when he was shaking and needed resolve. Eren is the one that has been brainwashing his past self, for instance when he helped Mikasa as a child or when he was caught in prison talking to himself. The fact of the matter is, since he knows the future, he's kinda like a prophet and knew Hange would die one way or another. That's why he's so frustrated in chapter 107 when Hange was interrogating him on about what he was talking to himself. Eren knew that there was no way of saving Hange's life with the outcome that will occur in the future. This is because Eren knows the only path that will allow true peace to occur is the one future Eren is instructing. He has to do these actions for a baby to be born with true freedom that will be the freedom from the curse of Ymir and hatred. His plan involves some sacrifices, yet the people that ends up killing him are his own friends that allied with the other nations. Eren is the big bad guy that everyone hates, and he has made them all aware that he is the devil through his founding Titan power and is responsible for causing the rumbling. In chapter 130, Eren even states that he only has 4 years to live and is extremely nihilistic in his point of view of the world, as he doesn't value his own life from the very beginning. He sees himself as a tool that needs to be used, otherwise he's useless. Therefore he wants to die making a difference. Eren even said to Reiner that he is the same as him with the way he thinks and wanting to perish. At the campfire, every single character states they all committed some act of the devil in the name of their creed. One way or another, it was all for the greater good in their perspective of nationalism or wanting to protect their loved ones. However, the difference is Eren knows the future and understands all perspective and has knowledge of things that no one else possesses. When someone has this ability, it obviously means they understand what path would suit their desire the most. Eren knows what what action his friends would take as they ally with other people from other nations, thus telling the world that harmony can be achieved and the Eldians will be known as the savior of the world that destroy the devil rather than being the devil itself. Everyone will have a shared perspective and bond of saving those they loved. This would juxtapose the world's view currently on what's possible and what could be achieved if they unite and talk to one another on their differences. Eren could possibly be doing this plan to sacrifice himself to make sure that this is the way he could achieve his dream in chapter 130 of wanting those he loves the most to survive. Honestly, at this point, the ending is just gonna be some poetic irony. Either Eren will save his friends end up killing him, or he ends up killing everyone and getting nothing in the end. Basically, Eren does all of this to protect everyone he cares about, but everyone he cares about ends up dying to stop him. With that, guys, let's see what happens in the next chapter. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and ding that notification bell to stay updated. And we'll make sure to do more Attack on Titan content. Till then, I'll catch you lot till next time.